So yesterday, I did a stream on my channel where I watched a whole bunch of other people's content. I watched Sargon of Akkad, we watched a little Tim Pool, we watched Kanye West's new video, and I decided to do a segment on HG Tudor, who is a narcissistic psychopath who does internet commentary, who I used to watch all the time, but I no longer watch anymore because he only does Meghan Markle content now, and I just couldn't take it anymore. It was just the same thing over and over and over again. But I basically did this segment where I was like, man, it would be really effing cool if HG Tudor like analyzed Jordan Peterson. I would maybe go so far as to like cut off a toe or something in exchange for HG Tudor doing a full and complete narcissistic analysis of Jordan Peterson, because Jordan Peterson has gone off the deep end, man. He is crazy. And so my question was, has HG Tudor actually talked about this? And I went back on his channel and I found out that, yeah, he actually has. He talked about it a couple years ago. We watched a couple videos that he did. He didn't really say much about Jordan Peterson, but I was like, man, this is like a golden opportunity. And I said, you know what? Like, he can go back and cover this content about Jordan Peterson writing full on poetry about how Nick Fuentes is a rat, and Jordan Peterson participating in that fake study where he's now saying that anyone who has an anonymous account is a psychopath or something like that. Like, there's he could talk about the Jordan Peterson James Lindsay interview. Oh my god, wouldn't that be amazing? Where Jordan Peterson gave all this criteria for who is a psychopath on the internet. I didn't talk about that last night, but I just thought of that. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? You guys remember when Jordan Peterson gave that whole list about who is a psychopath? And it's like people who say things I don't like, people who are anonymous on the internet, people who have a frog in their profile. It was like these things that have nothing to do with a diagnosis in psychopathy at all. And since H.G. Tudor is actually a diagnosed narcissistic psychopath, I would have thought that, maybe this would be something he wanted to comment on. And personally, like, just on my, like, personal level, I would be really interested in this content. I used to love HG Tudor's content. I have binged all of his content that I wanted to binge in terms of his general narcissism content. I've read like 15 of his books. I love his content. I love his work. I actually, unlike this poetry painter cunt, am pretty respectful of what HG Tudor's built. But I can't listen to his content anymore because all he effing talks about is Meghan Markle, okay? I can't. And so maybe I'm putting out a little bit of a wish on the internet. I'm saying I'm manifesting this, which is I really want my favorite narcissism expert, even though he thinks I'm trying to manipulate him, even though I'm not. I actually just want to hear him talk about this. I really want him to do this. And I know that a lot of people in my audience want him to do this. And quite frankly, I think this content would be very, very, very well received. I think people who have never heard of HG Tudor before would find this content and they would be turned on to his work and they would go back into his back catalog, which is much better than the Meghan Markle content that he's been doing anyway. He's so much smarter than that. And I think people would love it. And so I did a little segment about it. It was a Friday night. I was actually just having fun. I was actually just fucking around on the internet, as people are prone to do. Well, of course, the psycho that stalks everything I do, Poetry Painter, was watching, because she's probably watching right now because this is all she does, because this is what Poetry Painter looks like in her house. That's actually her. That picture is off her public Facebook profile. So this woman literally just sits around her house all day watching everything I do, screenshotting everything I say, taking things out of context, photoshopping memes, watching every single stream I do to find out which segment she can try to use against me. This is who he's talking to right now. I just want this to be very clear. This is what we're dealing with. So I did a stream where I just wanted to like basically have fun on the internet and talk about this, and maybe we send the bat signal up, or maybe just the stars in the universe align and maybe HG Tudor decides he wants to analyze Jordan Peterson. I think it'd be cool. I think he'd get a lot of views from it. I think also, by the way, I'm gonna say this too. I didn't think of this last night, but I don't think there's been any other person that's done the narcissistic analysis on Jordan Peterson. So this would actually be a feather in HG Tudor's cap. I'm pretty sure that HG Tudor was the first person to like publicly really call out Meghan Markle for being a narcissist, and he was right at the time. And so he was putting this idea out there. He was doing the analysis out there when no one else was doing it. And so he can say he was the first to call out Meghan Markle for being a narcissist. I also think he can say that if he wants to cover this, he could be the first to call out Jordan Peterson on something that I think any of us can look at what Jordan Peterson has become over the past couple years. And it's pretty obvious what's going on. I think it's pretty obvious what's going on. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? Maybe he would have a completely different analysis. Maybe he thinks this is totally normal behavior. He probably does. He's a narcissistic psychopath. I don't really know. But I've listened to enough of H.G. Tudor's content over the years, and I've read enough of his books over the years that I'm pretty sure he would come to the same conclusion that I've come to and that countless other people have come to, which is that Jordan Peterson would be an excellent candidate for him to have some sort of narcissistic analysis done on him by the world narcissism expert. So, because I was having fun on the internet and playfully saying, "Hey, maybe this is something cool that could happen." Of course, the psycho stalker had to take a screenshot of it and tag HG Tudor in it. And I really just think it's a shame that she chose it because, she's trying to position it as though I'm the one that's trying to manipulate him. From my perspective, this is the one that's trying to manipulate him because I quite frankly don't actually really care ultimately if HG Tudor covers this. I think if he did, it would be fun and interesting. I think if he doesn't, life goes on. It's not like the end of the world. It's just something I thought would be cool and fun. But she says, HG Tudor, if you see people in your replies or DMs trying to get you to attack Jordan Peterson, Karlyn is behind it. She told people to sell you the idea of attacking him by telling you it would get tons of attention. Well, no, I actually didn't. I, in fact, didn't tell anyone to say anything to HG Tudor. What I said was explicitly, we can't actually force him to do something because he's a narcissist. We can't like get him to do, he's a narcissist. All you can do is say, listen, bro, like this could be like really beneficial for you. You get a ton of views, you get exposed to people you haven't gotten exposed to yet because a lot of people in this world have never heard of HG Tudor. It's too bad a lot of people in this world have never heard of him, but like a lot of people haven't heard of him. So maybe it's time to expose him to a new audience, an audience that doesn't want him to cover Meghan Markle every flipping day, cover a topic that could actually get a ton of views on the internet. He'd be the first narcissism expert to diagnose Jordan Peterson as a narcissist, which would be another feather in his cap. I didn't tell anyone to go into his DMs. I didn't tell anyone to send him emails. I literally just said, I think this would be cool for reason X, Y, B, and Z. And I put it out into the universe to manifest or not. If it's meant to be, it will be. But HG Tudor sadly responded to her and said, duly noted. And then, where did the other thing go? I had my thing up here. Hang on. I have to show you my reply. I swear this is not going to take much longer. I swear. I'm sorry. Oh, I do just want to show you though. I want to show you as I'm pulling this up. This is Psycho Jill's current Twitter page. Not that one. That's me, obviously. This is Psycho. I just want to point this out. She's still talking about this. You think I'm the one trying to manipulate on the internet? Let's scroll down her feed right now and see how many of her posts are about me. Oh, look. There. She's continuing to post about me. This is all about me. This is her obsession with me. Like, I'm the one that's trying to manipulate. All I said on my stream was something would be cool on the internet. She has got a whole timeline of posts about me, whining about me, crying about me, complaining about me, other stupid shit too. But like the vast majority of content on her Twitter feed right now is about me because she's a psycho that's obsessed with me. And I say psycho in this case, not with the reference I would say that H.G. Tudor is a psychopath, because he is a smart psychopath that knows how to rein in his shit. She's just crazy because she keeps trying to suck up to Carrie Smith to get Carrie Smith to be her best friend by attacking me, and has become obsessed with me because of it. But let's go to my reply, because I did reply to this. I wouldn't have ultimately, honestly, if he hadn't responded to Jill. I'm sorry, that's her name. Just, I know that because I know what her profile is on Facebook. If he hadn't responded to that fat ass psycho, then I wouldn't even acknowledge her, because she talks about me all day, every day. So I don't actually really care what she has to say. But I wrote a response, and it's basically everything I said. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he responded to me, and he said, "I'll decide who I analyze, irrespective of transparent attempts to manipulate me to either analyze certain people or refrain from doing so." Yeah, bro. Yeah, we know. We know. So I'm now just trying to make it really clear that, like, listen, I said yesterday I was trying to manifest H.G. Tudor analyzing Jordan Peterson. When I say manifest, what I mean is I put an idea out into the world, and then I kind of let it go. And if it's supposed to materialize, it will materialize. And if it's not supposed to materialize, it will not. So I've kind of like already moved on from this. And I guess my opinion at this point is I really hope he covers it. I think it would be highly entertaining if he did. I think we would all watch it and enjoy it and appreciate it. If he doesn't want to cover it, that's fine too. But I just think that the world narcissism expert should probably not be taking advice from this on what to talk about on the internet. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, man, but like ultimately, H.G. Tudor is a content creator. And I think we're allowed to say to content creators that we like and that us like we've support, because I've spent money on his stuff. Not that that earns me anything, because it doesn't, but like it's not like I'm like a fake supporter of his work. I actually really like his work a lot, to the point where I've spent probably hundreds of dollars on stuff like his books and other stuff that I bought from him, and it's been totally worth it, and I found it all really interesting. But I don't think I'm being manipulative by putting out there that, hey, I think this would be pretty cool. I think the woman in the moo who spends all day, every day thinking about me and tweeting about me and posting about me and trying to disrupt things that are honestly just people having a good time on the internet for fun, I think that's the manipulation. So H.G. Tudor can decide what to do if he wants to cover it. I think it would be a shame if he didn't. Especially if this is the reason for it. Because honestly, like, again, I think it would be really cool for him to be the first person to diagnose Jordan Peterson as a narcissist on the internet. If he doesn't want that feather in his cap, maybe he's trying to suck up to Jordan Peterson. Maybe he thinks incorrectly that Jordan Peterson and people like James Lindsay and other people like that are all in that kind of like that same clique. Maybe or Douglas Murray or any of these people, maybe he incorrectly believes that those people are not the laughing stock of the internet right now, but that's because he doesn't live in this world. I don't think he really pays attention to this. And so maybe he wants to align with them for some reason. I don't know why he would, but that's his choice, man. And whatever he's going to do is what he's going to do. And I don't care. I don't care. If he refuses to cover it just because you mentioned it, then he is letting someone else influence him. Yeah, it's like, it doesn't make sense for him not to cover this topic. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't already. Doesn't look like he's going to cover it. Kind of funny how Poetry Painter got him to not consider it. These people live on the internet and don't understand yeah, see, this is like, but like H.G. Tudor's smarter than this. So, whatever. Like, I've always talked very favorably of him. Yep. But no, I'm the manipulator. Okay. All right. Well, whatever. I just like, it's like this internet bullshit. Yeah. The Poetry Painter is severely mentally ill. What a sad existence. See, this is what the smart people say. This is like we've got that fat ass watching every single thing I say and do on the internet just so she can complain about every single thing I say and do on the internet. It's like, And people like you got to judge the people who listen to this. You just have to judge the people who listen to this. I don't know, maybe like I think HG Tudor's pretty smart, but if he's taking advice from that woman, like I don't even know what to say. Every day her timeline is all about me. So, whatever. He's going to do what he's going to do. It doesn't really matter. Do you want to know why it doesn't matter? Cuz we're about to watch some socialism.